So here's part one of a painting that I was just commissioned to do. Here's the original painting. It's an oil palette knife. And so I'm just going to take this video and do the blocking in stage. I'm going to use palette knives for this painting, but right now I'm just going to use a brush and just kind of block everything in. It will be oil, but I've heavily thinned down my color so that it'll dry a whole lot faster. But when I do paintings like this, I tend to make my base colors, my blocking in colors, a lot of times I make them a lot darker than I make the colors darker than the colors that I'm going to need, what I'll eventually be painting with. Because for me, it's a whole lot easier to lighten the colors up and work from a darker color to a lighter color. And this will take about 24 hours to dry. And I'm probably not going to put in all the colors. I'm just going to put in like the base of the bulk of the color. So this sky up here. And even though I'm going to replicate this, I'm not going to put the clouds exactly there. I just kind of need a base for everything. And because it is palette knife, a lot will change, but the integrity of the painting will kind of be there. This is in Richmond, Virginia, the Canal Walk. It's absolutely beautiful. If you go at the right time of day, you can watch somebody peeing in the canal. And this is the train. It's near the triple crossing area. This is a train bridge, and there's another train bridge. And I've done this painting several times at different times of the seasons. I have a Canal Walk one in the fall. I have one in the summer, spring. I don't think I have done one in the winter. I've been asked to replicate this painting multiple times, which is interesting because I was fired from Minuteman Press years ago because they said I don't pay attention to detail, which is interesting. That was gosh, 15 years ago. Damn. I do a lot of time lapses of most of my work, but I thought I would do this in like real time. Probably not the whole thing, but when I do part two, I'll do the sky, and I'll probably do that one real time, and then some of the bridge, so on and so forth. And I'm just kind of like shoving it in, scumbling it in. I just needed to cover this entire canvas, get as much of this canvas covered as possible. And the canal is down here in this area, and I can assure you it is never that blue. The only reason it might look that blue is because of the reflection of the sky on the water. And I'll cover up a lot of this stuff. I just needed an outline of where everything would be. The problem with replicating your painting is often trying to get things exactly where it was, because that's what people like. They like that thing that you did. They like that this object is right here, the lighting is exactly right here, and sometimes that can be very difficult to get the dead on every time. And so I use the same colors in most of my paintings, the same blues. I use two different types of blues. I use ultramarine blue and phthalo blue. I use phthalo blue more than ultramarine blue because ultramarine blue tends to be too it's too thin, and I don't know. It's too purple for me. I know it's kind of like the king of the blues, but it's just not. I'm not a big fan of it. So, and then all of this, I believe that's under here. These are going to be clouds back here, but I'm still going to put in a base. Let's see. And then, there we go. And then there's all this grass here. Now this is way too green. I'm not going to make it this green at all whenever I paint it in with a palette knife. Let's see, that goes up and down here. This area right here, I believe, it's been a while since I've been down to this area. I used to live down in this area years ago. Massive bushes and trees back here. And let's see, there's this one right here. There are more trees in here, but what the hell. And now this whole entire area down here. Jesus, that is way too dark. Like I said, I go a little bit darker when I'm doing the blocking in colors, but I don't like to do it too dark unless it's something that appears to be black. And I know there are a lot of artists, you'll see in a minute, who don't like to use black in their paintings simply because black kind of muddies the colors. But I don't know, I don't have a problem with it. That's a whole lot better. Wish I had more to say in this moment, but I really don't. It's just kind of blocking everything in. And there's nothing really interesting to discuss at the moment. I didn't lock the wheels in on this easel, so it's kind of moving. The back to the right of me is a really nice table that a lady had me paint some birds on. It's an antique table, and I might be doing a video about it in a little while, but it was one of the coolest projects I've been able to do in a while. This walkway here, if you notice, that area is darker here, and that's because it's like the shadow of that bridge right there. Let's see. So I'm going to take black. This is pure black that I'm using here. When I get finished with this, I'll probably use an indigo color to kind of go over that. I'm not going to do today with the block end phase these areas. I just want to get the base of the bulk of the the darker colors, the larger areas, if you will. I got into oil painting years ago from watching Bob Ross. I know there's a lot of artists who give him a lot of flack, but I learned a lot from Bob Ross. The basics of like how to tone your your colors, the basics of how colors work, and it was a huge help to me. And from there, I just continued on. And then I worked at paint night for several years, for about a year. And that's one of those social painting companies where people get wasted while they paint. That was a lot of fun. I guess anytime you get to drink on the job, it's fun. And then from there, I went and worked for about 5 or 6 years at a company called Wine and Design. And I was there for several years and left there in 2019. And that's where I met a lot of amazing artists coming through, instructors, so on and so forth. I guess I could cover up, now that I think about it, a lot of these little things here, I don't know what they're called, the little connector thingies. I'm sure a bridge expert knows what they're called. The underpass things. I don't know if I'll do the whole thing in real time, palette knife, but probably just the main areas. I love palette knife painting because it allows you to create details without actually creating them. And you'll see it when I do the sky and the clouds. When you're using a brush, there's a lot of, I guess, fluff work. I don't know what the actual term, like where you're piddle around with it. Whereas with palette knives, you don't generally do that. With palette knives, you put in suggestions of things, and those suggestions, what the hell, let me cover all this up, tend to, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Like those suggestions with the palette knife will make the eye create something that really doesn't exist. Because all a painting is nothing more than like a series of corrections. All I'm doing here is putting down brush marks and correcting it as I move the brush around. And this line here won't even be able to be seen in a little while. in a day or so. So. Let's see. Again, this. And I'm not putting the paint on thick and heavy. I need this to dry. Sometimes people will do their block in with acrylic paint. I personally don't do that. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. To each their own. For me, I kind of like to use the colors that I know that I'm going to be working with. Now, I outlined a lot of this shit in here, but it's no big deal. I'll just come back over it. I've got the reference right there, so a lot of this is going to be lightened up in here. So, yeah. So all of this under here is going to be kind of like a greenish color. That same greenish color is going to be down here in the train bridge. But what'll happen is I'll mute it up a lot, pretty heavy. This too. And when I get finished filming, I'll just probably come back over and just kind of like haze all that in to just really blend it together. And when I say blend, I don't mean like blend colors together. I mean like there are thick clumps in here that you probably can't see. And I'm just going to kind of like blend it into the color that's already there instead of blending. I think sometimes when you say blend colors, people think you mean that you're going to blend multiple colors together. So then I'm going to come down here. This is a gray. And this is definitely, a lot of this is definitely, like I said, it's going to be a whole lot lighter when I get finished. Yeah, I probably could have used a bigger brush for a lot of this. Bob Ross used to use a 2-inch brush. This is a 2-inch brush, and he would do like a painting that like was a fourth of the size of this. All right. This right here is the, I don't remember if this is water here or what. It's been, like I said, it's been a while since I've been down there. This building back here is a brownish color. I'm actually going to kind of paint it a pinkish brown. So, and it comes under here. All right. It's probably a little bit bluer than I want it, but not that one. Again, this is all base coating everything. like I said, sometimes there's nothing really to talk about when you're doing these. And then we have one more back here. That's it. There's one right there. I think that's it. And if there's not one there, it is now. Alright. And then there's the bridge, the triple crossing bridge back here. And I'll probably put that in way later on and just okay. There you have it. A basic block-in of everything. And yeah, and like I said, once this is dry, in the next few days, I'll go ahead and begin to work my way. I'll do them in layers in the sense that I'll probably do the sky and then let that dry for a few days and then work in sections forward. Maybe the sky, and I'll figure it out as I go along. I know sometimes you're supposed to map all this stuff out, but sometimes I just kind of wing it as I go along. I know that I'm wanting to create a painting, but I know that as I'm creating the painting, I may want to take a break on something or shove something somewhere else. And there's a lot of the detail in here I'll probably change around simply because this is so much smaller and I have a lot of real estate to work with here. So anyway, I hope you like what I've done. And sorry about the echo. I don't have professional equipment. I'm just filming with my phone just to see what the hell happens. And I'll see you next time.